Do you ever feel like everything looks fine on the outside, but inside your mind is running a marathon in heels? Then this video is for you. Hi, welcome back. Or if you're new here, welcome to my channel, Blush and Brainwaves. I'm Kanishka, and guys, before I begin, I'm so grateful for all of you and all of those messages and comments under my video. It was really great reading those comments, and it really motivated me to make today's video. I know today's video is like being uploaded after literally 2 weeks, but like there were a lot of family functions and a lot of college stuff to be done. So yeah, it I had to delay it. But here we are with our official second video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about something that all of us deal with in our day to day lives, that is anxiety. In today's video, we're going to be discussing what anxiety is and some things that we are not aware about anxiety and how we can tackle it. So grab your brushes and your brave face and let's begin. Let's begin with talking about what anxiety really is. And while I talk in my video today, I have my holy grail companion, Orange Tang, if you can see, because this summer has really soaked out all the hydration, all the water and excitement out of me. So I really need this. I feel great. So, talking about anxiety, it is actually your body's response or your body's way of responding to certain threatful situations. Uh, Sometimes there are chances that the situation might not be that dangerous, but your brain and your body perceives it as dangerous. It's when your fight and flight mechanism gets triggered. So we human beings are born with certain mechanisms or certain response to dreadful situations. It's when your brain signals us. There are various types of responses: fight, flight, freeze. And when we are in anxiety, when we feel anxious, we often choose among the fight, flight, freeze responses. Sorry for fumbling, but yeah, these are the innate four responses that we often go through or we often use as mechanisms when we perceive a certain threatful situation. It Anxiety often can be seen as panicking and racing thoughts and lot of fast palpitations and sweaty palms, hyperhidrosis, all of that. But that's not always the case. Sometimes anxiety can also be shown or come out as irritability, laziness, sleeping everything off, and getting easily irritated, easily panicking. Yeah, and this is real, you guys. There are, many people who perceive anxiety as, basically panicking and gadbad karna and oh my god, what will happen? You become a worry monster, but not always. Sometimes it also can be, perceived, or it also comes out as unproductivity, and that is what anxiety is. While I'm prepping my eye base, let's talk about the next part in our video, that is high functioning anxiety. This is the most unnoticed type of anxiety because many people who, there are many people with high functioning anxiety who don't even realize they have it. Because there's little to no awareness about this, and it's because we come from a place where we are often told to be the most productive and always get your things done properly, always do everything on time, and meet the deadlines, do everything perfect. And there are people that do it because they love it and they love being productive and love being organized. But what if this comes from a fear of failing, fear of constantly falling back? Exactly. This is what high functioning anxiety is. Sometimes high functioning anxiety is not always about the symptoms, it's about the intentions behind it. For example, if you're working late, do you work late because you love it or because you have this constant fear of falling back from your colleagues or other classmates? Exactly. Think about it. So, To put it in a very simpler form, people with high functioning anxiety are constantly in a state of hustle. They thrive on it. They thrive on stress because they want to be looked put together, because inside their thoughts are spiraling. They come from a fear of, disappointing someone or disappointing themselves. And disappoint करने के चक्कर में they work so much, they thrive so much, and they're always hustling. You might observe them in your friend group as well. It is really important to talk about this type of anxiety, is because, as I told earlier, some people might have it and they might not be aware about it, because it is the most normalized thing nowadays. And you can often see it in corporate sectors or like corporate work settings, that many people have it. Like you can see, some people who are always up to date. They have everything, perfect and systematic, done under the deadline. Their meetings are always on time, their work presentations are always made on time, and they have nothing pending. And people always applaud them and admire them, and you might also, look up to them for, like, being a perfect employee or a perfect work colleague. But what one thing you don't notice is that they might look the most perfect and the most organized person, but deep down they feel like they're walking on a tightrope. It's, it comes from a fear of failure and disappointing, as mentioned earlier. And it's sometimes there are cases where you try to fall asleep, you try your very best to fall asleep, but you just can't, because your brain is continuously, working, and it is continuously, spiraling into various kinds of thoughts. Sometimes you might overthink over a text that you sent, let's say, 2 months ago. Yeah, there are. That is also a symptom, a sign of high functioning anxiety. We might admire such people, but we really need to understand what they are going through and why is it happening. This is one of the biggest traps of high functioning anxiety. Just because we think it is not visible to us doesn't mean it can't exhaust us. Now, a statistics from National Institute of Mental Health has put forth a statistics, or like a data about high functioning anxiety, that over 31% of US citizens experience high functioning anxiety at some point in their life, or anxiety disorders, and most of them are higher achieving people. Why so? Because they often go unnoticed, because people perceive them, or we as a society perceive them as fine, because they're just doing their job, right? And it's real, guys. Such people are often overrepresented in various uh, top performing jobs or top performing career fields, like, company CEOs, board of directors, doctors, students, engineers, so many other fields, because their anxiety often drives them to do better. And not just as common folks, but also Oscar winning actress like, I'm sorry for the pronunciation, Oscar winning actress like Emma Stone has also stated that she has been experiencing anxiety since a really young age. She stated in an interview that she has been experiencing panic attacks, spiraling thoughts, and a lot of things since a really, really young age. And she also wrote a book about it. I don't remember the name, but it was related to anxiety, and she had a character in a book named Anxiety. Surprising, right? She had a character in her book named Anxiety, and she talked about, childhood experiences and scenarios where she would think, her thoughts are she would think her mind is experiencing a fog, a mind fog. And she wrote this book as young as a 7-year old. She was just 7 years old when she published this book. So one of the other things we can say about is high functioning anxiety. Just does not happen to adults, but also kids. She also expressed, or she also further wrote about it, that her anxiety pushed her through to become an actress. Because when we are experiencing, or when an other individual is experiencing high functioning anxiety, that person is often, driven by a force to completely thrive. As I said earlier, they often thrive on stress. To completely they're often driven, and they're completely, motivated to do things, to do so many things on their own, and to always have things up to date. And it's just, it comes from a fear of failure, or like disappointing yourself. In most of the cases, it does come from a fear of disappointing your own self, which is actually very sad. But high functioning anxiety can also happen in kids. As a student, I can say one of my scenarios, that my partner was a topper. She was a studious child. I remember she had fever once in a class, and our teacher gave us a lot of notes for chemistry, and she had fever, so she couldn't attend school for like a week or 2 weeks, and her notebook got lost. That girl, despite of having fever these entire 2 weeks, she wrote all the earlier notes, and the notes that I used to send her, or like other classmates used to send her while she was absent. She sat till 2 a.m. and she wrote all her notes. And when I asked her that why would you put yourself through so much, you were already not feeling well, you had really bad fever, why would you sit till 2 a.m., and instead of giving yourself some rest, you were completing your notebook. And then she told me, I just don't like the feeling of having everything incomplete. I just hate the feeling of, keeping procrastinating and keeping things pending, because I get scared. I want to be a topper in my class, and I want, so she basically wanted to be a teacher, not a teacher's pet, but she loved, getting praised, and she hated falling back, and she just, it was a very icky feeling for her. But I couldn't realize that at that time. But as I grew up, and I, started learning about it, started reading so much about it, I realized it is high functioning anxiety. So yeah, it can happen in students as well. But the most important thing is, even if it is the most normalized term for anxiety, we must never ever neglect it. You might have it, I might have it, other people around you, your friends, your family, anyone might have it. I sometimes feel my sister has it, because my sister is the most organized person. And yeah, sometimes she gets this icky feeling if the house is messy, or if her cupboard is messy, or even if her makeup bag is messy. She makes an effort to sit and arrange everything properly. Coming back to our main topic, is that, you know, high functioning anxiety can often, even if it's invisible, it is real, and we can't just neglect it, or let other people suffer in it. We really need to make an effort and understand it, and treat others who have it with patience. So the next time you see yourself or your friend overworking on something, just tell them to sit back and calm down, you know, just help them out. It will make them feel really better. And if you have it, talk to yourself. Tell yourself that, it's okay, it's all right. Not everybody is perfect. Not everybody has to be perfect. It's not that important. And with that, I am done with my eye makeup. I just have to smudge this off 1 second. I'm done with my eye makeup, and this makeup look is for the days where my mind is a thunder, but I still need to look put together. I'll be back, I'll apply my eyeliner, and then we'll talk about the other things of anxiety. I'm back, you guys, and I have I did a little change in plan. Instead of applying eyeliner, I did like a little kohl eye thingy for my eyelids. And I want to show you guys a little trick for applying your kajal if you want it on your tight line and on your lower lash line. So you take the kajal pencil and then you just close your eyes and you make sure the tip is in between, and you close your eyes. Okay, wait, let me just. And then you just move your eye pencil, and then you have kajal on your upper lash line, your tight line, and your lower lash line as well. And you can repeat this step. And if you want wings, you can just draw like a short wing here and drag, so you get like a little volume. So this is like my basic kohl eye makeup, but this is the overall look. As I said, today's look represents the thunder in our mind while some glam. Okay, sorry for the mic moving, but yeah. Now, moving further, we are going to talk about anxiety is a signal and not a flaw. Now, many of you guys are really ashamed to share, about how you feel and how you think and what you think about yourself, because you are afraid that people might judge you. But see, guys, that's not the case. It's you who's judging you, if I can say it. And sometimes anxiety, we can perceive it as a flaw, but it's not a flaw, you guys. It is a mind and a body protecting us. It is a mind protecting us from certain threatful, dangerous situations, and there's nothing to be ashamed about. Like, why would you be ashamed of, being yourself? It takes a lot of courage to admit that you are struggling and you are going through something, and not many people have that courage to do it. But you need to realize, it's just a flaw. Sorry, no, wait. Don't get the wrong information. I fumble a lot. So it's just your brain protecting you, it's just your body protecting you, because obviously when we are in a certain type of inconvenience, when we face it, we often get irritated. Like, for example, this heat, I am sweating while doing my makeup and my tang is over. I finished it while I was applying my like I was applying the kajal, and I got so irritated by it. But it's just our body's response to some certain uncertainty, and we should not think of it as something wrong, or like you are sick or you are retarded. There are many cases, there are many types of people that I have met, like including people in my family. Many of my family members or my relatives think that anxiety is disorder, wo bimari hai. But it is not a bimari, it is just a signal. It's like an alarm system in our brain. And like those fire alarms you see in Hollywood movies, like even if you're just burning a toast, the fire alarm goes on. It's just like that. Even like just the because the fire alarm perceives the situation, or the perceives the smoke indicating that the house is on fire. It's just like that. When our brain perceives a situation in its own way, like a situation that's uncomfortable or unfriendly, obviously our brain will send us signals, and that's okay. Anxiety can also become your inner critic. And guys, I want to introduce you to one of my friends. That person thinks she's my friend, but she's not. She thinks she's the boss of my mind and she can do anything. And her name is Miss Doubtzilla. I know, creative, right? So Miss Doubtzilla often comes, during negative situations. She loves telling me that I'm not worthy of achieving anything in life. Like every time I have a big presentation, or like I'm about to hit upload on my YouTube video, she comes and she tells me, "Who's gonna watch this? People will laugh at you. Do you think you're gonna make it?" But I have to tell her, Doubtzilla, I've got this. You don't have to worry about me. And exactly, that's how anxiety talks to us. Protect करने के चक्कर में it comes out as negative self-talk, and disbelieving yourself and doubting yourself and your potential. And that's why so many people miss so many meaningful opportunities. It's because of our inner critic, and it's your duty to shut her up. And I coped with this because as I said, I'm a psychology student, and I learned this technique, or I read this technique in one of my books. This is a psychological tool called externalization. It's when we separate or we view the voices in our head or the spiraling thoughts in our head as somebody, separate from us and not one of us. So that made me realize, and that made me understand that this Doubtzilla girly is just, you know, the voices in my head and not my reality. So every time, I'm doing something important and I come up with her, and she comes up and she tells me, I just tell her, thank you, Doubtzilla. I love your concern. I'm really grateful for your concern, but I got this. I was really actually fumbling while filming this video, and I also had like really negative, you know, doubts and thoughts about, what will people say if they see me fumbling, if they hear me fumbling in my YouTube video? Like, everything just needs to be perfect, everything needs to be like aesthetically pleasing, and but nobody's perfect, and I'm here to show my real self on this platform. So I shouldn't be worrying about whatever issues I'm facing in my video, because as I gradually go on and as I, make more videos, I will learn more, I will learn from my mistake, and I will improve better. And that's how you should do. So every time you feel anxious, just give your self doubt or your inner critic or the voices in your head a really great and catchy name, and boom, you will see the difference. Now we are done with the overall look, but while I prep my lips, which is the most important part of today's look, while I prep it, we're going to talk about the good stuff now, okay? Enough of the explaining everything, now the good stuff. We are going to be talking tools and techniques by which we can shut Doubtzilla up. And we can also tackle anxiety if we are in that particular moment. So, beginning with my favorite lip balm, I bought this from Zudio with my best friend the other day. So, okay, one of the main techniques, one of the important techniques is grounding techniques. Bringing yourself to the present moment, or like mindfulness techniques, as I talked earlier in my first video about mindfulness. So it's like the 5 4 3 2 1 technique, and in that we have to talk about 5 things we can see, 4 things we can feel, 3 things we can smell, 2 things we can hear, and 1 thing we can taste. This way, our mind really helps us to, bring ourselves back in the present moment and not worry about anything else. And this is a very effective grounding technique that most of therapists also use in their therapy sessions. And, it really helps us to ground ourselves and, calm ourselves down, because it regulates the level of worrying we have up here. I'm sorry. The pitch keeps on changing, but it's okay. So, yeah, apart from grounding techniques, of course, it takes a lot of time for us, for our mind to come back. And if we are a very snappy person, if you're a snappy person like me, guys, there is another technique called as journaling. No need to write a novel, but just 5 minutes daily, 1 page of brain dump is really enough to take out all that stress that's oozing out in disguise of anxiety. I'm sorry. So, journaling is one of the most important things. I used to write diaries as a kid in school, and of course, I wrote a lot of dumb things in it, but it's fine. I was a kid, but that kept me in check of, my feelings, what I was thinking, what I was doing, what I was feeling, and how I viewed myself. And when I read those diaries, or when I read my old diaries or old pages, I come to think of, I come to the thought of how amazing person I was. And I used to practice this even before, it was a thing. Journaling is in trend nowadays, and I used to practice it. And I'm really grateful I used to do that, because nowadays I don't get time to do it, but it's really effective. I used to do it in school. Writing diaries, every girl has this dream of having their own secret diary, and exactly this is what journaling is. Lastly, if this also doesn't work, movement. Movement is another technique by which we can, calm ourselves down. Movement is really important in our day-to-day lives, and I have many tips. Every time I feel stressed or I feel like lazy and, lousy all the time, what I do is I dance in the kitchen while I'm doing the dishes or while I'm cooking. I put on music and I just dance, because that really, produces a hormone called dopamine, or like you get really energized, and that just, regulates the thoughts in our mind. We feel more calm, and it just regulates the constant panic that we are getting through. So every time you feel, like so in my family there's a saying that if you're panicking a lot, we say ha ye bahut high papa kar rahi hai. So if you ever feel high papa, move, listen to music, just get into the tune and just groove to some good music. And that's how you guys will feel better. But lastly, it is really important, no matter how many tricks and trips and techniques you try, talk to a friend or somebody trustworthy, your family member, your friend, your partner, anybody. Just talk it out to them. I also talk out. So every time I have some doubts or anything, I talk to my psychology teacher. She's a very friendly person, and she also helps. She often helps with everything. Like if it's personal problem, if it's really something related to academics, if it is something related to career. So I was really anxious about, my career in my second year, because I still remember that day. I was sitting in a lecture, and then she talked about this internship program, and I was like, what if I don't get a job? मैं क्या करूँगी? I am not sure in what field I want to do, what I want to do, in what field I want my career. And I just went and I asked her, I'm really just anxious. I don't know. I don't have anything planned. And what if my TY gets over? What will I do? And blah, 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 blah. And she helped me a lot at that time. So it is really important to also have a good circle and trustworthy people to whom we can talk to. Talk it out to your best friend, your parents, your partner, your siblings, your cousins, anybody, but the person you trust, and the person who doesn't judge you. We shouldn't judge anybody with anxiety. But coming back, this is the end of the video. This is my overall look. And guys, just remember, if you ever feel like your brain is having a bajillion thoughts and you don't know whether you're gonna make it in the future and you're just getting really anxious about it, shh, calm down. Girlie, take a deep breath. Or, bro, take a deep breath. Drink some water. Just breathe in, breathe out. Sorry for blowing in the mic. Just breathe in, breathe out, do box breathing, practice self care, and just know that your anxiety or the thoughts in your mind are not your reality. It's just your brain trying to protect you, because even if you don't put in and you don't invest in self care, your body naturally does. So there's no need to worry, or there's no need to think of yourself as unworthy. It doesn't define your worth. It's just you're just getting irritated by some inconvenience, and that shows up as anxiety. And keep loving yourself, keep liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing to my channel, and share this to other friends and other people whom you think needs to know about this, and whom you think needs to watch this video. See you next time. Bye.